Hi guys, this is Julia for Just One More Card, and today I have a card to share using Pretty Pink Posh sequence to make a shaker card. I am also using the Crazy Things by Tim Holtz. This is a companion stamp set for the Bird Crazy stamp set, which I also love. And I'm going to be using this witch hat exclusively here because I want to create a Halloween card. I'm also going to be using the Jumbo Peekaboo die by My Favorite Things and a sentiment stamp by My Favorite Things as well. I'm starting out by inking up my witch hat here in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This ink will work fantastic with Copic markers because it won't bleed, and I'm stamping it on Simon's Stamp Ultra Heavy cardstock because I want to fuzzy cut this out and I need something that is sturdy enough. Now for the coloring, you can see the colors that I'm using here, and I'm starting out with the YR27 to map in my shadows, and the YR27 will just darken up the YR09 a little bit. It's not really going to change the color a lot, but it's going to darken it up, and that's what I want. I want to have a subtle shading effect here. And usually I know the color theory says stay within the color family, but I've decided to go from the YR09 to the Y38 and then to even lighter yellow tones. So you can see that by going over the area a number of times with my markers, I'm able to blend them out quite nicely. And if you have trouble blending from one color to another, again, just go over it multiple times, or do the tip to tip technique where you touch the lighter marker to the tip of the darker marker, and then you can blend quite nicely. Now for the band here that wraps around the witch's head, you can see that's where the shaded lines are. That's basically where the shading is, where the crisscross lines are. So I'm only using the artist drawn lines that are already there, and you can see me here going from the darker brown to the E13 it's quite a big jump. But by going over this area again and again and again, I'm able to blend it out eventually. So easy peasy. Don't be afraid to try stuff out to see what works. And again, I can only recommend the hex chart by Sandy Allnock because it helps me a ton to decide which colors go together. Now I'm fuzzy cutting the hat out, and even though I've sped this up, I'm actually taking my time doing this because I'm cutting right along that black edge, the stamped line. I am not leaving a white border right now. And then I'm using my Memento marker here, and I'm just dragging it along the edge to make sure that I have a black edge and not a white one. And I feel it's better to do this with the colored side facing you because then the chances are less that you will accidentally get ink on the colored side. Now on to the actual shaker part. I have two pieces of foil here for my German viewers. This is Bucheinschlagsfolie. Everybody else who's not German, this is just regular foil that I bought in a supermarket actually. If you have Avery L stamp pockets or Simon's stamp pockets, those will work perfectly. You can see me here, I placed a circular die down onto the foil. These are two pieces of foil on top of each other, and I'm just tracing along them with my fuse tool here. And you want to have something sturdy underneath. Something sturdy. And you have to experiment with the foil that you're using, how fast or how slow you need to go. If you go too fast, you're not going to fuse it together correctly. If you go too slow, you'll burn through it and then it will rip. And you can see I left an opening here because I have to fill in the sequence. And you can see me here scooping up the sequence. I'm using container boxes by, I think it's the German company Reiher. They're quite inexpensive. They're like $3, I think. And for, I don't know, 14 compartments, 16, I don't know. But the reason I like them is because I can open each compartment individually. I don't like the storage boxes where I open the entire thing because I tend to knock stuff over a lot. So that's why I like to have separate, those separate latches, so I can always make sure that if I knock it over, I'm only going to spill one color. Yeah, these are all my Pretty Pink Posh sequins here. I will be listing all the colors that I'm using in the video description below and on my blog. And I'm picking purples and yellows, some clear sparkle sequins, of course, and of course some greens. I'm mainly using the 4mm size, but here I'm also adding the 6mm size, I think. If not, then I'm simply adding another color. But it's gonna shake so nicely. And then I'm just gonna close it. Doesn't matter how it looks because nobody is going to see that. At least nobody's supposed to see that. And you can see, all closed up. Here's my shaker element. And now I'm trying out how it will look like all together, and I realized that my witch's hat kind of gets lost there against the all the colorful shakers. So I'm adding some Tombow Mona multi-glue on the back of my witch's hat. And then I'm going to add it to some simple white cardstock. Doesn't need to be anything fancy or expensive. It's just regular white cardstock. And I'm using my tweezers here because, you know, I just want to keep my hands clean. Just press this down and wait a bit until it's dry. And then I am going to fuzzy cut all around this. And I'm going to leave an even white border around it. Could have done it from the beginning, but I didn't think that far. And what this will give me is, it will give me a little bit of contrast against the dark and colorful background. So you can see me here carefully cutting along and leaving a thin white border. It's not that hard to do actually, so you need good scissors though. Now this is the back of my front panel, obviously the back because I'm adhering glue to it using my ATG gun, and it might not look very elegant, but it's actually quite convenient. I really love my ATG gun. You know guys, I'm saying this every time. You would think I'm getting paid to say this. I'm not, I wish. I really love my ATG gun. And at first I was not entirely sure if this would hold, you know, like because it's plastic and will the plastic really be kept in place by the glue. But as it turns out, I was pleasantly surprised. The glue that I'm using in my ATG gun, which is just the regular refills, holds the plastic shaker in place perfectly, absolutely perfectly. Then, just as I was about to put everything together, I decided that the background didn't look interesting enough. Yeah, that's me. That's me. Everything needs to be interesting and intricate and whatever. So I'm using my Silver Delicata ink and this background stamp by Nanami Design to simply create a silver star pattern on my card base here. And I gave this a few seconds to dry because it is a pigment ink after all. And then I'm just about ready to put everything together. And you can see now with the white border, it looks so much better against that background. This is how it's going to look once it's all put together. But of course I need a sentiment, you know, I tend to forget that, but this time I thought about it in time. And this is from the Which Weighs the Candy stamp set by My Favorite Things, and it's just a simple Halloween hello. I just love how simple it is. And I'm using VersaFine ink because, as you guys know, I love this ink for sentiments. It's perfect and it's crisp. So here I put some adhesive onto the witch's head with the ATG gun. And I didn't want to use fluid adhesive because I was worried that I would move the head around and then I would have, smears from the liquid glue. So I adhered everything down. The front panel is adhered with foam tape to the card base. And this is just a silver gel pen that I'm using to color in the buckle here, which will give it a really nice sparkle and shine. It's just a tiny little detail here. And then because I can't help myself, of course, I have to add some dots. You can see me thinking here, should I not? And I was like, let's go for it. And then I just drew in some silver dots. You see me here draw in 3 bigger dots, and then I'm filling some of the space in with smaller dots. And I did this on the upper left and lower right, so you could imagine a band of dots going across the card. And that ties in nicely with the silver stars in the background. Yeah, you can see me being perfect here. So here's a close-up of my witch hat, which is mounted on some white cardstock and then on the shaker element. And you can see the silver stars through this shaker element, which is so amazing. And here's the entire card. I hope you've enjoyed this project. I hope you got some ideas how you can use your fuse tool to create shakers. And I can't wait to see what you do with your sequins by Pretty Pink Posh. Thanks for watching and see you again soon. Bye!